one question to all those who are from non-UX background. What do you think about UX? What exactly UX is? So please give answers to it because we are, my meetup gets started now. So anyone, what do you think about UX? In general, when someone speaks UX, what comes in your mind?
Customer journey.
Okay.
User experience of the product.
Okay. Okay.
Consumer psychology.
So, I will just tell you in very simple layman's words. We all are sitting here in this office. Now we have desks, chairs, everything. Imagine the facilities manager who wanted to come up with this chair. Okay. Now forget what you are seeing the chair. Imagine if you were to kind of purchase chair for your staff. Why this chair? Why not cafeteria chair? Why not couch? Why only this chair? What is the reason? Ergonomics and so what is the use basically of this chair? Why not? Because comfort is only also given by the very comfortable couches. So why this chair precisely?
To sit for long hours.
To sit for long hours and
To be comfortable while sitting for long hours.
and height adjustment. So the point that you are mentioning is actually you are empathizing. This is what empathizing. This is what empathy is. When you say empathy, math. When you go theoretically, it's like we get lost in the jargon. But this is what exactly empathy is because you are trying to understand what user is, what user wants. That's the reason why UX is nothing but deriving a pleasant experience of using the right product at the right place and at the right time. That's user experience. That's simple as that. That experience journey, everything is of concepts here. But the real fact is, am I able to use the product for my purpose, for my goals? That's UX. Now, why am I saying UX is not just about design? You will get to know. So this is what we will just covering. General bits about UX as entire engineering process, significance of UX and entire SDLC because non-UX people, most of them know what SDLC is, but UX professionals, they actually kind of know design thinking, but how to align it with SDLC. That's what we'll be discussing here. And then it's like user experience. So one question to all of you are like, we say UX and UI. But UI is made of, stands for two different paradigms. One is user interface and one is user interaction. So what do you mean by UX, user interaction, user interface? Are they the same? Because we say I'm UX designer, sometimes I'm UI designer, sometimes I'm UI developer. So do you mean that UX, UI and they all are same user interface? Because I see in fancy JDs, we want UX developer. And then I think from which dimension they are coming up with these JDs? UX developer. And so can someone tell me the difference between user experience, interface or interaction, or you think the same? What do you think? Are they the same? Yeah. Are they the same? Yes. And why do you feel that way?
User interface is more inclined towards the designing, color palette, and all the visual things, and the interaction comes towards the motion and the Shimaki was saying, the interaction, the blob and button.
Yeah.
I feel that UI is mostly on the look and feel, how aesthetic it is, but UX majorly focuses on the functionality and how it can make the interface easy for the user to navigate through, rather than just focusing on the aesthetics.
Sure. Now, let me explain the same thing in a very simple. We just come back to our chair, the chair on which you are sitting right now. Okay. You see this highlighted parts? The backrest. You said you need to adjust height and everything. What are they called? What do you call them collectively? Backrest, lever, features, and more precisely, these are user interfaces. Precisely, because using this through this user interfaces, you actually interact. So user interface is what you design, through which you interact. Now aesthetics and everything are just properties of those user interfaces. Previously, imagine that the shaft by which you are adjusting height is somewhere behind. You are not able to make your hand reach out there. What will you do? Get frustrated? And in that frustration, someone comes to you and asks, what is the status? That frustration gets transferred to the person who is talking to you. That gives rise to argument, that gives rise to escalations. Imagine a wrong user interface, wrongly designed user interface elevates at such a level that it leads to escalation. So that's why we say, based on your interaction with the user interface is what you feel, and this is nothing but user experience. That's it. User experience is an emotion, not a physical entity that can be designed. You design interfaces. That brings me to the next question. Do you really design user experience? So you call us UX designers, but do you really design UX? Now the question comes to you. Is now the time to think about this myth, think about this ideology that industry has been calling since a long time. User experience designer. Do we really design UX? If yes, why and no, why? What do you think?
We build experiences.
You build experience, more precisely, you don't design, but you derive experience. Experiences are derived based on what? The interfaces through which the users interact. No jargons, no complicated words, no buzzwords. User experience is a feeling and emotion that you derive, and it is generated through the interactions that users do with the interfaces. So you actually design interfaces which are usable for the users through which they interact. If you take these things in mind, so next time when you are working on something, even as a developer or as a designer, you will think from the perspective of, if I design it this way, will the user really be able to, the empathy that you just applied while answering me about the height, adjustment and everything, that's where your mind is clear. So now let's come to UX engineering. So why I call it UX engineering, not as a design? UX is not design, it's engineering. When you say UX design, what happens is in your organizations where you work, how many of you are very satisfied by the way you are used in the organization, like as a UX person? How many of you are given the chance to incorporate your ideas into the actual thing? Is that, can you proudly say, I introduced this feature as a UX professional? Or are you in the situation where the product team and developers ask you to do what to do? And you was like, what am I doing here? How many of you honestly raise your hands? Feel this. Everybody has no experience. Everybody are okay. So what's the experience in an organization? So those who raise your hands, can we explain? What exactly do you feel and how do you think things can change?
So there is a mix of both. So I work at Wipro as a UX designer, and over there we have a big set of team that works. So for example, if it is a team of 10, there would be one designer and rest 9 would be developers. Just an example. So many of the times that happens is the BA is giving us requirements that the clients want XYZ, and that's what we need to deliver. And for example, we just go, we could add something new. There would be additional costs, there would be additional efforts, and a lot of other things that often reduce our design capabilities or creative thinking.
Thanks for honest feedback.
Once you be honest.
Do others also feel the same? I mean, the peers run the show, the developers run the show. I mean, there are developers here. And designers say, अरे ये इसको टाइम लगेगा, ये पॉसिबल नहीं, feasible नहीं है, ये हमारा framework सपोर्ट ही नहीं करता. And you get, okay, I'm back to my design work. So that's the reason why I call it's engineering. It's a partnership between BAs, developers, and UX professionals because you cannot work in silos. You all know about design thinking. Many of you must have heard about double diamond, 3D, 6D, अलग fancy wrappers out there. Can you tell me what exactly they mean to say? Design thinking. Just cover design thinking. What's simple principle of design thinking? What does design thinking say? Don't give a definition. Just what do you think design thinking is?
What turns to be more appealing to the person using it? Why they would want it?
Sure. Now, all the methodologies like design thinking, double diamond, 6D, 3D, everybody, they all are derived from one single principle called as UX engineering framework. Now, everybody knows there is a discover phase. Discover. Developers do it, BAs do it, सब लोग करते हैं. But I in silos. Why not do it together? So, the point you said, the BAs tell us the client wants this, you need to go to a BA or to a manager and tell them, see, can I participate in the client meetings? As a UX, I will just listen. Start with just listening. Then, after the meeting, sit with the BA and tell, okay, this is what I think we should also include. Brainstorm with them. As long as you can brainstorm with them. And what can happen is, next time, if client asks some questions and nobody is able to answer, and you know that you have the answer, just raise your hand. Wait for that moment. Raise your hand and speak up. Chances are 50% the client will say no. But 50% of chances the client would say yes. And that's where you get that your first shot of getting visibility. That's where you start, but then you need to be aware of what needs to be done. So I don't have much time to explore all this, but I can just tell you, these are the standard processes. Now, if you follow this systematically, like first you discover, sit with the BAs, try to understand what they want and try to then empathize. Like then you map the business requirement to user requirements. Okay, the user wants to do it in this way. What BAs do is they come with a checklist. Login screen चाहिए, add button चाहिए, सब कुछ चाहिए. They will do. मेरे को add button दो, checklist दो, checkbox दो. What UX people do is, just take for example this chair. For a BA, this chair is a thing to sit. Armrest नहीं रहेगा तो भी चलेगा, खर्चा बचेगा. Back rest थोड़ा सा नीचे रहेगा तो भी चलेगा, खर्चा बचेगा. Height adjust करने की जरूरत नहीं है, लोग पिलो डाल के बैठ जाएंगे. BA बोल देगा. As a UX, what will you answer there? If you are able to convince why you need an armrest, why you need a heighted backrest, why you need a lever, although it is a cost, but you need to come with a competitive solution. Pillow से ये problem होगा, height adjust में ये problem होगा. Users will get frustrated in the competition if someone else introduces height feature. We lose the business. You need to answer questions, but in such a way that it's systematic and competitive. Always what will happen is you will get into argument mode. नहीं चाहिए, दूसरे देते. We get into argument, and that's where we get lost. So, if you want to brainstorm in details over this, we can have one-to-one or offline. Am I available on LinkedIn or call? My number is already there. So, now the question is like, does it end here? Because you said okay. In design, when we say design thinking covers everything, but the only problem is, in design thinking, people directly focus on this, product design. And that is the problem. BA बोलता है कि we got a solution, फटाफट wireframe बना के दो. How many of you feel this? Developer बोलेंगे मैं wireframe तो मैं काम करूँगा. Developer ऑब्वियसली उनको वो स्पेस नहीं पढ़ना है, स्क्रीन देख के काम करता है. चाहे तो if it's back-end developer or so the window of running the show is on UX person, and if something goes wrong, designer ने गलती किया. But if you work together in understanding, researching, analyzing, coming up with, how many of you create user journeys before designing the screens? And what will you cover in that user journey? Happy part? What about hacker घुसेगा और कुछ और करेगा उसके अंदर? Do you cover that? What about the user will try to break ways in logging in? Do you try to create that? So So in a user journey, you need to create all the flows, and that's where it's like you can determine what exactly is needed. And developers, BAs, everybody need to be, participating in this user flow creation, because developers need to know the conditions, developers need to know the backend logic and everything, and designers need to know how many screens and what screens they need to create, rather than randomly कुछ screen बनाओ, फिर you के जाओ. I actually conduct workshops for all these in details, but I can explain you that. Now the next question is, what's next? How is UX needed in SDLC? Software Delivery Lifecycle. How UX professionals talk to BAs, developers and everyone is like, you need to participate with BAs in discover, ideations and analysis stage with technical architects and everyone. Secondly, you need to also identify the functionalities based on what users need. Basically, what users need to get to know, and you say, okay, we need to write this functionality. Over the business functionality, you said you will need to say, okay, if we do it this way, user benefit. So it business analyst say, okay, we want a shaft for adjustment. Then you will the shaft need to be in the place where your arm easily reaches out. That's the user requirement. So I will share with you the videos which actually precisely mention what I am talking about. Then exactly you need to understand the logic. Like for example, there is a session on AR/VR. That's domain knowledge. If you want to design something for AR/VR, you need to know domain knowledge. If you are building something for cybersecurity, you need to know how exactly that works. So domain knowledge is something which you need to gather. And then finally, UX SME also takes how exactly text stack is. Take for example, you design a lazy loading thing, and developers will say, lazy loading बहुत time लगता है. बना के दे दिया, because client को design अच्छा लगा, and then user is waiting, loading. It's a backend work, but still it's impacting the UX. That's the reason why UX engineering, it's UX engineering, not design, and it's partnership between everyone, UX, developers, BAs, and even testers. So why is it important? Take for example, now we are going away towards more next-gen technologies like AI, ML, IoT. I mean, people say AI आ गया तो designers का job जाएगा. But why? Why do you think that way? The reason is you need to actually think from this perspective. Zero UI. How many of you heard of zero UI? What is zero UI? What is zero UI as per you? Can you guys say what is zero UI?
Zero UI or basically zero user interface is like the next big thing you can say. It's basically interacting with, you can say, meta humans, or your basic thing is Alexa. There is no interface in front of you. You're just interacting with Alexa, and your needs are like, Alexa, play this song. So it's zero UI, but you still have that experience and that interaction.
So the zero UI is 2D UI. We don't have 2D GUI. So basically, what you said is right. It's like these are the next gen moves. Like the IoT. You control IoT through devices, and you control via AR VR, which again we have session on AR VR. So these are not physical 2D GUI which you design on Figma. Here it appears like here it gets more logic, human psychology. Alexa needs how different voice tones are, how the voice will be captured. So these all are beyond design. The other reason I said that UX is not about just 2D interface or front-end development. So this is something you need to get prepared with. So can you tell me how UX is very prevalent in cybersecurity? Everyone says cybersecurity actually strikes both we have malware, we have phishing attacks, we have ransom. Why exactly that happening? Why is UX very important in cybersecurity? Can you tell me the example of UX applied in cybersecurity? You all are UX professionals. Where exactly UX is used? Cybersecurity is only cyber crime is only area where extensive UX is used. Cyber criminals are the expert UX professionals. Jantana scam, they know how to scam people. They know how to manipulate emotions. They work on a greed factor. They work on emotion. They extensively research people. They extensively research their victims before, and that's why I call cyber criminals the most efficient UX professionals. And And to counter them, obviously, if you want to create a cybersecurity solution, you already need to think how they work. And you need to do extensive user research. That's the reason why I said, in your user journey, do you create a negative path? How to break the system? That helps the developers even before the breaking happens. That's the reason why user interaction flows are very important. I'm just running fast because now if you think what is my career in future, Frank is between UX, industries like modeling. You are young, you are in the show, you age out, you are out. You cannot expect after 10-15 years you are doing the same design work. You need to keep developing your skills, and that's where domain knowledge helps. I will do cybersecurity, get to cybersecurity domain. Become a domain expert which aligns with UX, which aligns with BA, and then further you can get into UX, being a UX product owner or UX product management. Because business analysts can't handle everything. You need a product manager who works on the UX side also. And you can propose your career plan as someone who has UX product owner. You get into UX architecture, you become a behavior analyst. You get a specialty area like user analyst, behavior analyst. You get into specialty area such as accessibility. You bridge gaps. You actually become a consultant for bridging gaps between requirements and so there is a lot of scope for UX. So it can only think if you think beyond the well of design. Because UX is everywhere. If UX can use the cyber frameworks and UX can use in multiple areas. So that's the reason why we say think beyond design. Design thinking should not be in the design thinking, they should be now in user thinking or usability thinking. Then actually it would have gained more traction. But design thinking, the human side only focus everything on design. Design thinking, wireframe, that's it. Everything else becomes secondary. Whereas you should not touch wireframe until unless you have done all those three stages. So that's all. So one more thing is important, legal framework. How many of you have experienced this and build something, everything developed, and all of a sudden there is a pushback saying that the app got rejected? कुछ तो problem आ गया, security problem आ गया. How many of you have faced this? Your app was rejected because of some compliance or security framework. How many of you honestly design? You put in efforts. So what was the incident?
So in our company that happened like few days back. So you mentioned that thing cyber criminal. So what happened? 2-3 weeks back, I got a mail from my manager, like I'm in the conference room. So his name is Jeet. And then I just saw Jeet. So after that there is 077 something. So I got a mail like, hey Krishna, what are you working on today? So and then after that there is another mail from that person. He's like, hey, my Apple Pay subscription got cancelled. So can you give me some amount? And then I asked him like, what is this? So he's like, check the mail. And then it was like scam.
So basically it's like, this is one example. Another example is like Google. Why did it got banned in China? So there are certain reasons, even movies, they get banned. So the reason is you don't study the user behavior as well as the legal framework of the local area. So legal and compliance is also your inputs. Because no matter how beautiful thing you build, but if it has legal complications, so basically each and every slide I can have deep brainstorming over them. Because I even conduct workshops for them. I even help developers, the UX and business professionals come together and build their own products step by step, regardless of the theory. Forget what you learn in college. So I am currently grooming students from MIT to build their own plant care agri-tech app based on IoT. And they are freshers, frankly speaking. So yeah, if you ever want to come designing, you can just reach out to me. I can help you out practically without investment. You can build the app because you have all the basic skills. So we need one developer, one designer, one PA, and one QA. Make a party, build a startup, and then you need funding only when you have introduced. So thanks a lot. If you have any questions, I'm open for it.